In part two of this two-part discussion with my friend Rob, we start to learn about the things that he started to do to turn his life around and get his footing. But the one most important thing about Rob is his belief in his purpose and the belief in himself and the belief in his God. And so, tune in because this is a fascinating part two.
Something that I saw in that vision with Christ that day, and I never found it. And so at that point, Randy, I was with a gal that did a lot of charity work, and she helped me kind of to start putting some aspects of my vision together: logo, concept, mission. What are you about? And so this is about the time I called you and said, hey, let's reconnect. I'll even come out to Boston and hang out with you for a few days in Rhode Island. And I remember you and I cracking lobster and really having a good weekend with you and spending some time with you. Um, I I asked what you did, and you said you run as a director a community relations spot with a major company, a blue chip company, and that you look at hundreds and hundreds of applications a month and year. And I said, well, I want to start a charity. And I remember this exactly. And you said, well, tell me more about it. And I said, well, back then, I told you I want to help single dads pay a portion or pay their child support through through community outreach or community service projects or public service. And you're like, and have those hours served pay a portion of the child support, where the dads don't get the money. The money goes right to the agencies that pay the child support to the custodial parent. And so you were like blown away. I remember exactly. You were like, say what? Tell me that again. I started saying it again. You go, no, I get it. Did you just say what you just said? I go, yeah, I did. He goes, bro, that is genius. I go, what do you mean? He goes, I've never heard of anything like that. I'm like, agencies that will help struggling fathers, screened, background checked fathers pay a portion of their child support through public service? Yeah. I go, he goes, you said you're onto something here and I want to be a part of it. And so I said, well, that's not only it. There's a better part. And you said, what's that? I go, when these parents can partake in like workshops to get better, like parenthood or career training or career services, help them find a job, that when they go to these classes or workshops, they earn credits, like credit hours for their kids to partake and perform in music and sports and positive extracurricular activities that will keep them off the streets, being homeless and doing drugs and getting involved with theft and burglary and unwanted teen pregnancy. It's all over the place. So that's my other caveat that I really am impressed with is I want these kids to have the opportunity in America to throw a football, to get involved with culinary or chess class or mathematics or STEM or ballet or music or any of these types of activities that they just can't. Half of Americans can't because they don't have the money, the time, the transportation. They don't have any of that. And so when I share that,
So on this point, so you come up with that idea and you share it with me when we're here. And I also remember we went to try to see a Patriots Steelers game and we got ripped off
yeah,
like $300, but that's a
yeah,
whole different
I
story.
remember
But
that.
so you share that story, you go back and you really start kind of working the
Putting it
process, like
together. Yeah.
looking for people, incorporating the nonprofit, and I'll let you tell the name, but you're doing that. You're raising a little money, but you're still going through a lot. Like
I'm
you've
still
got this
struggling financially.
incredible idea. You've got this
Yeah.
incredible idea.
Yeah.
You've talked to, local district attorneys and
Yep.
you've
I've
gone
talked
to
to
the court
judges,
system, judges,
black judges.
and
Yep. That's right.
everybody loves the idea. They're
Yep.
getting behind it, but you are
I have.
still
I have no
struggling.
money, still
Yep.
struggling financially. So that struggle continued for a few years after that. And although we attempted a couple different fundraisers and got the word out as a proof of concept, it never took off. Although the charity today still stands on the back burner, as an active charity with 990s filed to IRS. It's still active in the community. It's just I we're in a process of creating a pilot. So this is years forward. So go years back. So climbing through 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, I was still struggling a little bit with mortgages and just doing enough to barely skim by with massive amounts of child support. I was able to reduce it by half. I was still paying like 1,700. It was just crazy the times back then.
But
2000.
were you working your way out of the financial situation? Like, were you making your way toward a plateau at least?
Yeah, a
Yeah.
better car, better apartment or housing, a little bit of cash, trying to save some money while trying to still whittle debt. I had no credit cards. I lived off just my checking and savings. My credit was so bad, I couldn't pay to get a secured card. You know what I'm saying? It was like in the 400s. It was bad. And so just step by step, I would take a paint job here, or I'd find some extra work there to try to get ahead a little bit, you know. And so that happened. And in 2016, I got fed up with mortgages. It was a dying breed in those years. And I just didn't want to be a part of it anymore. It was something that I'd lived high in the hog. And since then, it just fell into a calamity of an abyss. And I just didn't want to be a part of it anymore. So I reinvented myself and I grabbed my bootstraps and I said, I'm going to get my real estate license. And I studied hard for a couple of months to get my license. And I passed all the federal and state tests, got my license, and didn't do much with it. So I had to fall back on the paintbrush. If you remember, I painted homes.
Yeah.
And so I did painting for about 6 months and I did pretty well with that. And I upgraded my car and I got a better place to live in, maintaining child support. At that point, I think up and through 2018, my mom passed, and part of my inheritance went to the IRS for back taxes, and the other half went to child support. So I paid off the feds and I paid off child support, and I still had no money. But what I did have was I didn't have that debt over my head anymore.
Right.
I could finally breathe for the first time. Even after my mom died, it was such a calamity, and it was such a big ordeal losing my parent that I was so close to. Um, the blessing or the gift was that I didn't have that debt anymore. It was gone. So everything I made now was for my benefit in moving forward, right? Help my kids out when I can. My kids are older. They're 18, 19, 20 years old now. So in 2016, got my license. Didn't do much with that. It wasn't until 2018 I got involved with some real estate wholesaling, which was using other people's money to acquire and buy residential real estate deals, and kind of as a middleman or a middle person, um, to make a small gain on a real estate transaction by putting up a few dollars of earnest money and then assigning the contract to another buyer, and then getting out of the transaction with um, with an assignment fee, kind of like a commission, and getting my earnest money back. So my partner and I that went on this real estate vocation did that very successfully for about a year and a half, and then we bought our first real estate property that we could flip. And at that point, I finally saw the light. Like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to make some money now. And in the meantime, the charity, great idea, is still on the back burner. Which a few years, and we're still into, well, we're into 26 now. One of the goals this year, it's on my whiteboard, is one of my 26 goals is to successfully complete a pilot program and get funds raised to get that first leg into the public to where we can test it and show the sustainability of Family Rescue Foundation is the name of it. So yeah, it wasn't until 21, and I'll conclude with this: my rise from the ashes. Um, I'd still chosen God, but I wasn't fully vested, wasn't fully in it all the way. And it wasn't until 21, when we had COVID, that we're in the middle of COVID, and people dying globally around the planet, just dying of this nasty disease from bat juice, that I was contracted the virus, the COVID-19 virus. And I had it so bad that it hospitalized me for 27 days in Colorado Springs. I was there to pick up my dad and drive him back to Arizona as a snowbird to stay in his fifth wheel. While I was up there, I caught the disease and got tested positive. Next 4 days were pretty bad. Went into the hospital. They checked me back out with oxygen and a steroid. And 4 days later, I almost died. My dad came downstairs and said, "Son, should I take you to the hospital?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can't move. I can't get out of bed. I'm just coughing. I feel like I'm dying." So he grabbed me and my oxygen bottle and went back to emergency, and they immediately put me on a CAT scan MRI and uh, 60 liters of oxygen. I don't know if you know how much liters of oxygen are, but I was on the mask and also a nose cannula, and it felt like an air hose blowing oxygen down into my lungs. And they said, "Well, we got good news and bad news. The good news is you don't have any blood clots in your lungs." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, if that's the good news, what's the bad news? How much worse can it get than having blood clots in my lungs?" They said, "Well, you because of your abrupt and harsh coughing, that you tore a lining in your trachea called pneumomediastinum, and you have a small tear inside that could lead to a cardiac arrest." And I'm like, "Oh my
Jesus.
gosh, this can't get any worse." Um, that's when I turned my life 100% uh, over to God and said, "I'm now surrendering all of my faculties to you. Please, I don't want to die." And I couldn't breathe. It felt like an elephant sitting on my chest. And I prayed 16 hours a day, while all my waking hours, all my thoughts were a prayer to Him in saving my life, because I didn't want to lose my dad. I didn't want to lose my 4 kids and the chance for me to be a grandfather and help raise um, our family name, right? Um, so yeah, for 27 days, miraculously, I slowly recovered from the COVID virus, and I aligned my principles, everything I've learned in life. I basically surrendered that to Jesus Christ and said, "This is all you know." And so, all this be the glory to you, right? So since then, my life has done a 360 or a 180, and um, I couldn't, I couldn't be in a better spot in my life, where my life's just now starting to take off like a space shuttle to the moon. And I'm just so happy to be God centered. Um, every day I put Him first. I read, I pray, I help other people, and I'm ready, dude. I'm ready for this next chapter of life to be nothing but the best. And so it's the people I work with, it's the people I choose to be in my life that also share the same goals and values that I do. Um, I'm looking to make over close to $1 million this year. Um,
Rob, you've had to also in this process put a lot of people aside, right? Part of the journey in your transformation has been to, look at those people and determine who's on this journey with you or who's an obstacle or a barrier,
right.
and move those people aside. And I know you shared that with me. How has that been easy? Has it been difficult? How has that played out for you personally?
Um, it just the people in my life that were with me, great, and the people that weren't are left behind, because I'm not going to center my life around a person that doesn't share those same values as me, because it's going to do is cause more torment, and it's not picking and electing and choosing God first. And so it was important for me at that time to basically draw a line in the sand and say, who's coming with me, and who can I help to cross the bridges of troubled waters because of my past. I felt like I've been honored and crowned with something God sent, that I can help other people through their struggles climb out of an abyss of black tar and quicksand that's easily ready to succumb them. So um, I'm ready for this fight, um, to make my stand for good and a pillar for um, my children and my dad and my good friends. They can't believe the transformation that's happened to me, but it's pretty simple. Just choose God and let Him help guide your life into a path that's better, it's happier, it's less chaotic, and it's glorifies Him. And in the meantime, you get blessed with all kinds of riches. Like, listen, I went from zero money to almost $300,000 the year after I came back from COVID. All my friends couldn't believe I was buying new trucks and taking trips, and they just couldn't believe the amount of deals that I was closing and in homes that I was building to put better back on the market. And it was pretty amazing, bro. And that journey is still kicking ass. And I'm just happy um, for the chance of a second life to change my life, make it better, and help people along the way that are struggling. Because I've been to hell and back.
I know you have.
I know what it's like to lose everything. And we can all make a choice to be better human beings and to treat other people with respect and to love one another. And this life is much better, as you can see the tears of joy that run down my face. And that's my story. And I'm happy, bro, you're in my life. You're one that's on the good side. So thank you for this time and allowing me to share my story. And it's not all of it, but I've given you the highlights of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And
So
so,
I want to I want to touch on a couple of things real quick. Your your father has dementia. Your
yeah,
father has dementia, and you are
yep,
the caretaker.
I'm one of them.
And you've shared the difficulty of that experience. What but the other on the flip side is that you're at a point in your life where you can actually deliver on that care because you've transformed into a person who cares about himself, can take care of himself, and now you can do that for your father. And
Right.
how has that how has this experience continued in helped or in this
Yeah.
journey in this transformation because it's tough.
Yeah. It's super tough. And to have a parent, I've got one left, my dad, and he can't walk, he can't talk. He can say one liners, but I can't really have a huge dialogue with him about anything in life other than I can show him things that I've completed and accomplished. And he has that twinkle in his eye, like, good job, son. I'm so proud of you. And occasionally he can get those words out in his own way. And I understand what he's saying. But he's 100% disabled, where he's having to be taken care of by caretakers that need to take care of his food and his meds and change them. And because he's incontinent, he doesn't have the ability to go to the bathroom anymore by himself and hold it. And so I've learned a whole different life of a man that um, used to spank me and beat me as a kid and verbally abuse me, to forgive him and care for him as I would care for my God, my Father in heaven. And it's um, it's really life changing to have a great relationship with my dad today because he's in a happy state, even though he's confined in prison inside his mind. He can't communicate at all, and he's financially inept to pay any bills or take care of it. So, as his power of attorney, I have to take care of all his finances and his expenses as well, because he depends on me now. Um, so I feel like the children to the fathers, and now the fathers to the children.
Right. Yeah.
And but I've been blessed so much that it's easy for me now to take care of him and his needs because he's taken care of my stuff for all these years as well. Even when I got in trouble with child support, he bailed me out a couple times, and I've always paid him back 100%. I never owed any of my parents money when I've always paid my parents back, and so although I accrued and succumbed to debt, I also paid it back as well. So it wasn't like, thanks for the gift, I appreciate it. No, I worked hard to pay that debt back to my parents. Um, but my dad he couldn't live life, and I couldn't see him in the standard of life that he's given me to put him in a worser spot or a worser condition. Although he's disabled, his end of life shouldn't be in an apartment or mixed with hospice care that doesn't spend the quality of time and care and attention that my dad needs. Because my dad's given me everything, I feel it I feel honored to take care of my dad and respect him for the life he's given me. Even though I struggled in my life, so those are some other aspects that I look back as well as I've been blessed, but I'm also giving back to my father that has given me um, a safe life, I guess you could say. Um, he built a custom home. I grew up in a custom home. We had nice cars. Food was always on the table, even though I chose not to because of wrestling and a spit in a cup.
I remember that
But
too.
but yeah, I've had quite a ride, man. And I'm looking forward for the first time in my life now that all this is behind me. I'm looking forward to better friendships, better relationships with my kids, my friends, the last family that I have. Even my aunt, she's so impressed with the way I was able to just give and take care of my dad at the highest level that I possibly could, sacrificing everything. All my Sundays are now dedicated to my father. So we go to church in the morning. And then after that, we either come home or we go to lunch and we spend time, and I hold his hand and I give him a hug and I tell him that everything's going to be good, Dad. And so he deserves that. He served our country. He was a military war hero, and I have a lot of respect for that. Uh, so yeah, I guess I'm more emotional now. I just care more about people, and I understand that I struggled pretty bad, and there's a lot of families that may have and even struggled worse than I have, and I couldn't imagine that because I've been to hell, man, and losing everything, and I feel for those families that have that struggle, and I know what you're going through. I've been there, and so if I could be an advocate, support, just reach out to Randy, and I'll be happy to share more of my story and help you, give you some guidance on guiding you through some of these troubled waters, or when you feel life is at an end or you're hopeless. Um, you just that one person that can help pull you out. I'm that person.
Family Rescue. It You changed the name from Father Figure, which was the original name. I remember that first one. And we were here in Rhode Island kind of going through the different names and we came up with that. But then you changed it to Family Rescue.
Yep.
And I remember when you called me to tell me about the name change and why that name was really important because at the end of the day, it's not just the father who you're bailing out, but
Yeah.
it's really rescuing the entire family.
The
It's
entire family.
ensuring that the kids have food on the table, ensuring that they have activities, ensuring that the father is also growing and being held accountable through
Yeah.
service and volunteerism,
Yeah.
and ensuring that the father and the mother and the family all together actually are going through some type of education.
Well,
Um,
they can all learn to co-parent better because as soon as the family breaks up, co-parenting goes right out the window, and it's always some kind of ultimatums or blackmailing, like, "Hey, you can't see the kids until you pay your child support," or "Your parents can't see them until this gets done." It should never be that way, and it should be a community effort to help these families learn new roles that once the what do you call it, dissociation of marriage ends, that these kids need more support now. And they should have had it along. And I come from a broken family, so I know what these kids are going through. I lived it. I was a latchkey. And with today's devices and the amount of crime and sex, and it's just horrible. And so these parents need a realignment. These parents need to know some new tools on how to co-parent and allow the grandfathers and the grandmothers to step in and help nourish and take care of these kids. They need the help. And so all we're looking to do is to keep these families tied together more than ever, a rescue that will help keep them together. A lot of families just don't know where to turn. They don't. We got pet rescues, we got fish rescues, we got crocodile rescues, we have monkey rescues. But who's rescuing our families in America? Who's rescuing our families that go through such hurt and shame and hopelessness? Um, I can add a whole lot of words behind that. Nobody is. There's certain programs that will help in a certain area of it, but they don't have the full buffet of everything that we're looking to embark on and even partner with other charities because we don't want to write the curricula. We don't want to write the curricula. So why not partner with the Boys and Girls Club? Why not partner with the YMCA? We don't have it all. We don't have the resources. But we have the drive. We have the families. We can get those butts in seats, right? We can drive these kids there. We can get these parents to their workshops and their
mhm.
classes to hold them accountable and to help keep our families sustainable in America, that they can stay connected to these kids, their children, without the hate and the hopelessness attached to divorce.
So, Rob, part of the book that I wrote and all the work I'm doing around transformation is about leaving the past or shedding the past, um, going through that burn and rising from the ashes. The whole concept of the burning of the phoenix, and then looking forward, like what is it you're going to become? And for
Right.
you, it's going to be the Family Rescue Foundation. That is your goal in life. That is where
That's my purpose in
that is
life.
your purpose in life.
Right.
And so for anybody who wants to learn more about how to get involved with family rescue and
Right.
help get this organization started, or
Right.
moving along because it's started,
Yeah.
please reach out to me or reach out to Rob and we'll get the information out there.
Yeah.
But Rob, I knew, you and I, like we said at the
Mhm.
beginning of this discussion, we've been friends for a long time and we're older. And, people have seen the picture that I posted between, from all, then and now. And,
Mhm.
and our friendship's going to go on until we both take our last breath. And
Yep.
I'm excited to see where we're both going. Our lives have evolved dramatically since we reconnected. And, and here we are. So, friend, thank you so much for your time. What an amazing story. And I hope that whoever listened to this found nuggets of inspiration in it. nuggets of hope. And thank you so much.
You're welcome, Randy. Thank you for your time, and blessed to be a part of it. And I'm I'm really proud of what you've become and where you're at in life, man. You just blow me away all the time, man, um, with what you've been through as well, in putting this type of platform together for the average Joes like myself, or even professionals. We all struggle, and we all need a transformation in life.
That's
And
right.
I think what you've got going is something really special.
Thanks, buddy.
Hang in there, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this second part of my discussion with my friend Rob. What an amazing guy! What an amazing story! And so I hope you were inspired. I sure have been inspired by him, and I think a lot more of us need to find purpose in our lives so that we can continue driving forward and do good things for the world. Thank you for tuning in.